a lot of people say that a lot of fintechs in Nigeria are actually shutting down, and that's correct. A lot of fintechs are shutting down because a lot of business owners, they don't realize this, that IT is not an expenditure. IT is not an expense. IT is not wasteful. IT is what gives people the business edge to expand their businesses. IT is the new business edge everyone in the world is investing in. IT is what's going to make you succeed. Case in study, 20 years ago, one of the richest family in the world was the Watson family. And who's the Walton family? Is the Walmart. The Walmart family were the richest family in the world. Somebody else started similar business, and a few months ago, he was the richest man in the world. What made the difference for Jeff Bezos was technology. So I tell people this, that if anybody right now in any form of business, whether you're in entertainment, whether you're farming, whether you're in restaurant business, and you're not asking yourself a question that in the next 5 years of my business growth, how do I use technology to expand my business, then you're missing out.
Picture this. You walk into your office and everything is shut down. Your systems are compromised, your financial record compromised, your staff logged out. Now, this isn't friction. This isn't a movie. This is the actual reality of cyber threats for businesses today. And what makes this even worse is that a breach in your security could mean closure for your business, maybe bad reputation for your business, as with a lot of businesses right now in Nigeria. Now, the question is, what exactly are you supposed to do when this happens? Now, this is what makes cybersecurity not just IT, but the boardroom conversation that businesses should be having right now. To handle this, I've got Mr. Osita Okoli, the CEO of Collaborative Technology Innovation. He is an IT expert that has been helping businesses, financial institutions, government parastatals to stay cyber resilient. Today, we'll be diving into what you need to do as a business to safeguard yourself from, cyber threats, what security risks you should look out for, and how you should balance innovation with automation. If you're about all of this conversation, then this is for you. Join me as I welcome Mr. Osita Okoli to the LIMBsimple Podcast, a space where we demystify life, investing, money, and in this case, cyber wisdom in the simplest way possible. My name is Melvis Ihezwade. It's an absolute pleasure to have you today, Mr. Okoli. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
You look good.
Very great. I always do.
Oh my God.
And you look good too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So to get this conversation started, I'd like to know how you got into IT. I find that a lot of IT experts have really interesting background stories towards their entry into IT, especially if they never studied maybe information communication technology or computer sciences or data analytics. How did you get into IT?
My story is a really funny one, but
I
I
want
would
to
say
laugh.
it. I would say it.
I
either
want
way,
to
right?
laugh.
So I went to LASU and I studied business administration,
Okay.
and I graduated at LASU. And while I was there, I met a mentor of mine who happened to have an IT firm, and he wanted me to walk into the IT firm. And that's how I started. He employed me into his firm, and almost 15 years after, I'm running my business, Collaborative Technologies. That's how I got into IT. And I tell people this, that environment is more important than education, because I've seen a lot of people study IT. A lot of people are doing a lot of IT programs, but they don't find themselves in that environment that breeds what they actually want. But fortunately for me, I found myself in the environment that made me understood IT. But beyond just the environment, I also did a lot of study. I studied everything. Because IT, you hear a lot of jargons. You hear a lot. For the first time, I was hearing things like vulnerability. I was hearing things like IT protocols, web protocols. I was like, what are all these languages?
Okay.
But I had to learn it. I had to study. But the best part is that I had the right environment, and that actually helped my understanding about the business. Thank you.
Okay. Now, a couple of things, a couple of acronyms that I'd like you to help us understand, because it would shed light as we go down our conversation. So the first of which would be, and this has to do with data management. What is a GDPR
Okay.
or a CCPA?
Let's actually start with the fundamentals about IT, right, for the business.
I want to go to school.
Yes, let's actually start with the fundamental. But one
Teach
thing I
me.
love about what you did was how you actually introduced our conversation. A lot of people say that a lot of fintechs in Nigeria are actually shutting down. And that's correct. A lot of fintechs are shutting down because a lot of business owners, they don't realize this, that IT is not an expenditure. IT is not an expense. IT is not wasteful. IT is what gives people the business edge to expand their businesses. IT is the new business edge everyone in the world is investing in except Africa. Right? So let's go to that first of all and understand IT is what's going to make you succeed. Case in study, 20 years ago, one of the richest family in the world was the Watson family. And who's the Walton family? Is the Walmart. The Walmart family were the richest family in the world. Somebody else started similar business, and a few months ago, he was the richest man in the world. What made the difference for Jeff Bezos was technology. So I tell people this, that IT is not an investment. If anybody right now in any form of business, whether you're in entertainment, whether you're farming, whether you're in restaurant business, and you're not asking yourself a question that in the next 5 years of my business growth, how do I use technology to expand my business? Then you're missing out. You're missing out from the big pie because technology have expanded the market. Case in study, it was said that MoneyPoint at a point became the most valuable, the most valuable financial institution, one of the most valuable financial institutions in Nigeria in such a short period of time. And what they did right was that they used technology to go into the places that normally nobody was willing to go. So I had a conversation with one of the founding staffs of MoneyPoint, and he told me this. They said that the owners of the business, Tosin and Ike, right, one of the founders of the business, when they started MoneyPoint, they told themselves something, that where are the underserved in the banking sector? And they said the northern part, some remote villages and the rest. Then they asked themselves a question: how do we use technology to solve that problem? Now, technology for them, first of all, was how did they use technology in the financial space to solve the problem? Then also, how do they use technology for marketing? Technology helps you all around. So what they did was simple. They focused on putting their marketing campaign electronically through technology to the northern part of the country. Is it the rural parts where you have the villages?
Yes, the rural
part. They did that. Then they also asked themselves a question: for us to do this and for us to scale, do we invest in physical infrastructure? I'm going to explain that. Or do we invest in the cloud? And they said, for us to scale, to have agility, to be spontaneous, to meet our customers' needs on time, they decided to go to the cloud. And today, look at where they stand. I think they were one of the unicorns for last year that crossed over $1 billion valuation. Now,
because I know that probably a lot of our listeners would not understand what we mean by the cloud, because you said physical structure and the cloud. I don't want people thinking we're talking about like space or like going to Mars and stuff like that. So can you talk to me about cloud computing?
This thing you said is quite funny, because coming here, I saw, what do you call those things? I saw a lady that was talking to a set of people about her religious belief. And she said that AI is demonic. I was laughing.
God.
I said, it actually reminded me then when
they said COVID was
COVID was
5G.
was this thing. Then beyond just that, also when they said the WWW was 666 and they actually came up with, so people come up with a lot of conspiracy theories about technology, and it's allowed. But I just say this, that have an open mind. The world has so much information that would help us to grow and become who we are. So to answer your question, what is infrastructure on the cloud? So I would liken it to, just for a layman's understanding, I would liken it to this: your multi-choice investment. Like, you subscribe to multi-choice. You don't have to buy the tape players. I would liken it to your Netflix.
Okay.
You don't have to own the tape players. You don't have to own anything. You subscribe to someone that already has that, and you actually see those movies and you enjoy those movies. Also, you don't have to buy those. I remember growing up then, we used to have tapes, cassette players.
Yeah, and then you put it
Then it evolved to CDs. Then now you can actually just stream it live. So cloud is simply this: somebody else has made the investment. You don't own the investment again. You don't have to pay so much money owning those investment. All you need to do, you pay for the service you need per time. How does that translate in business? At a point in time in the world, if you want to have your emails, do you have an email?
Yes, I do.
I know. We all do. Everyone has an email. I'm sure our listeners that they also have emails. We all have emails.
Okay.
But at a point in time, individuals couldn't have their emails.
Oh.
Why was it so? Because for an organization then to have their email, they have to buy what you call servers. They call them email servers. And these are boxes that were really big, and you have to power them. You have to do a lot of things for you to have your emails. Backtrack how many years from now, people don't own those boxes again. Somebody else has done that investment on their behalf and is telling them subscribe to those things. So that's what you mean by the cloud. A cloud is you subscribing to a services without you necessarily owning the burden, having the burden or investing a large capital on owning those investments. But right now you just subscribe to a service. So that's what people are doing now. People are subscribing to technological services without necessarily investing huge capitals in getting them outrightly.
This is interesting, right? Especially because since we're talking about data, I know that people say right now that, or you said, I think it was a conversation with you, that data is the new oil. And oil money is really good money, you know. But then as with oil, it has to be refined, it has to be protected, it has to be used responsibly. So then we don't have to lose as much money as we're losing right now in the country.
I tell you.
So, but then in industries like the government, like in banking, like in real estate, that have so much sensitive data, I feel like it's one of the many challenges that is overlooked. But then the question is, how do we ensure that we are able to stick with the regulatory policies around this data while still holding on to the legal requirements that are required?
As in, you've asked a very brilliant question. I think most people might not understand the brilliance of your question, but that's an amazing question. So let's start with one of the first questions. And the question I presume you're asking is, the first question is, data is the new oil. Do people really understand that?
I don't think they do.
So I like practical examples.
Please do.
Facebook, what gives them money? Instagram, what gives them money? Netflix. So that aside, Microsoft, what gives them money? Excuse me. You realize that? Excuse me. That's data. That's data. So you realize this, that all these companies, they make money from getting data and they translate that data to information. Let's bring it back home. Nigeria is said to be the most populous nation in Africa. Why people are looking at the numbers? My mind is thinking on the amount of data that is being generated. And if you notice something across the trend, you realize that the developed countries are looking into Africa, and most people are saying they are looking into our mineral resources, which is not completely false. But what they are interested in the most is the data that is going to be generated here, because they know that in Africa we've not mined. As if we've mined our data, we've probably mined only 20% of our data. And the reason is what I'm going to state at a point in time. But the point is this: data is the new oil. let's bring it back to the example we gave earlier on. I'm probably giving MoneyPoint, I'm giving them a lot of advert at this point.
Right.
But what did MoneyPoint do right compared to others? MoneyPoint got data, and this is how businesses make data and oil for them. MoneyPoint got data, and they said that who are the underserved markets? Markets that don't have ATMs across them. Market that is difficult for them to open bank accounts. Markets that they call it markets that want to include financially. So say financial inclusion. Who are these markets? And they realize that, and in Nigeria currently, we still have a lot of unbanked than banked still.
Yes.
And they realized that a portion of these unbanked, how they could actually reach them. So that was data helping them in their decision making processes. Now, how do we bring it back home? I tell people this, that for a bank, for example, beyond just, most banks do it now, but beyond just having people paying and pay out money, and for every businesses, the question I want to be asking is that you want to understand the data in your market space. You want to understand, okay, how are people's buying habits? What are they buying into? What are they investing into?
The behavioral patterns.
Exactly. What are they investing into? What inspires them? What are they searching online about their next 5 years plan, so that you can actually position yourself there? Now, this is how businesses are created, and this is how businesses sustain themselves. And that's what we as an organization, we're also trying to make businesses do. And what is that? So one of our services that we do is that we say, you know what? In most organizations, they have, just like mineral resources, just like Nigeria. They said we have huge resources. But the challenge we have is that we are not organizing our resources effectively. So let me bring back to data. So we have data scattered across various boards. You have this data in several formats, that is difficult for you to bring those data together to make sense of it. A case in study also is in Nigeria, our blessed country, our country rich of so many resources. You have your driver's license. Mm-hmm. Then you want to do your international passport. You have to go and capture again. And you do that. Then you want to do your BVN. You have to go again and capture.
And print it again.
Exactly. Print, do all those things again. Queue to reprocesses. Now, why is this thing so?
Okay.
It's simply this, that there's no data governance. We don't have a data governance structure currently in Nigeria. And that's one of the things we are advocating for as an organization, that Nigeria, we are appealing to the government that we need to have what you call a data governance structure. In our organization, we already crafted a name for it. We call it NDAM. NDAM simply means Nigeria Data Management Policy. That we need to come up, every organization, whether big or small, you need to come up with a data management policy that would help you structure your data in a way that would be effective for use. Most people, you ask them, okay, can you show me the list of number of customers that bought from you? Most people don't have that information.
And this is very, sorry to cut you short, this is very particularly important for a business like real estate. One where you need to go back to your alumni or people that have bought from you in the past to probably repitch them on a new offer that you have.
Exactly.
Remind them of, the completion of payments.
Exactly.
Inform them of. So if they do not have this data, it means that they are sleeping on money.
Exactly.
Businesses a lot of times do not even fail because of a lack of clientele. They sometimes fail because of a lack of past clients, repeat purchase from you. Because if you already have built trust with them, they want to bank with you. The question is, why don't you keep digging that hole that is already dug?
Exactly.
Why do you have to go find another?
Exactly. So talking about what you've said right now, I would want to challenge any real estate founder.
Please.
All right.
Say it to them.
I want to challenge any real estate founder that, do you have a 10-year record of all the customers that's bought from you? Do you know where they are? Do you know their buying pattern? Because if you have that information, I can guarantee anyone that does real estate, if you've invested in technology that would help you do that, you would become a multi-billion-dollar business in few years' time.
Now, if you were to, because you just identified a very huge gap in, the real estate market right now. How would your company close up that gap? So
the thing about it is most of these companies already have this information, but they are not organized. Like we said, in Nigeria, we have the oil, but we're not organized. We're not structured.
We're not refining it. We're not.
How would we help you organize? First of all, we come into your organization, we'd gather all the information we can on your system. We hope you keep those informations also. We would have to search for it. We have to organize it. We have to create policies around it. We have to get softwares to first of all, we're going to be working with software. It's not that we're going to be gathering information on the page or anything. Then we'll be able to now categorize the data you have, find out, there's what they call master data management, find out the real source of those data. Find out, okay, what's the true, where's the source of this information? Then we'll be able to now come up with tools, analytic tools that would help us drill down to the buying habits of individual customers. We'd understand their age gap, we understand how they bought, we understand how they pay. Also in those information, you understand where they work. So for example, let's put the real estate company, since we're talking about them, in check. And this is something that the banks, they do also.
Okay.
For the real estate company, do you understand the buying habit of your customers? Do you know in what sector they work in? Do they work in, for example, do they work in the oil and gas space? And if they do, right, it means that, and you've seen that the oil and gas space are the ones building most of your businesses. Then based on that data, and you've actually gotten, you'll be able to analyze at the point at which they bought from you. Then you can start putting your marketing towards that, targeted at that period. And you know, the Facebook and Instagram, they do this so well. So at the point in time, when it's close to your birthday, they'll start suggesting cakes, companies, places. If they notice that you enjoy traveling out, they'll start showing you places. So why is the real estate industry not using technology to their advantage in that sort? So still talking about the real estate industry in Nigeria. And that data that is important for them is their procurement processes. You'd be shocked that most real estate company, they don't have an ERP tool. What do I mean by ERP tool? An ERP tool is called, in full, Enterprise Resource Planning.
Okay.
These are tools that large organizations like Shell, like Mobil, like Dangote, they use. What does that help them? It helps them plan their resources. A case in study, you are bringing in sand. Do you know when that sand is going to expire? Do you need to call your supervisor every time that let me know when sand is going to be finished in this project? No, you don't have to. Do you have a place that keeps an information of all your vendors that you want to push an RFP out and let people answer it? And the tool by itself would suggest, based on the criteria you've placed, will suggest who you should actually call to negotiate better, right? Most people don't have this enterprise resource planning tool. You know, they do a lot of things manually. And what technology helps company do is that it helps you scale. You don't need to do things manually. It's just like what we do in our country, our lovely, blessed country. Nigeria is blessed. We have so much resources. So I would liken the real estate people that don't have an ERP tool, like enterprise planning tool, as the traffic warder, the LASMA, the VIO that is standing by the side of a traffic light.
What exactly are you doing?
You know, so you have like 4 agencies that you pay money to that is standing by the side of a traffic light. And if you live across Ikeja here in Lagos, Nigeria,
you see that happen a lot.
Yeah, you also know that they have this what do you call it? This camera that captures.
Yes.
So you see those people like, why?
So this thought, right? While you're talking, one thing I thought about is that 2 things could be the reason why this is happening. Number one is maybe the lack of information and how this could drastically transform their revenue. And another one would be probably an attachment to human activity, human effort, and an attachment to processes that has been on for a very long time. Now, it could also be that they think that this is going to cost a lot of money to implement as compared to having, physical things happen. I do understand that this would lead to obvious redundancy over a long period of time. But what I want you to talk about right now is if you were to put it alongside, and obviously the ERP would be more efficient, more work, done. My question is, as compared to the amount that these businesses would have to let go of to do this, what would you say is a greater gain for them?
Thank you for your question. You actually good questions. I love your questions.
Thank you.
Right? I love the questions you ask. So I'll start with this. IT doesn't eliminate jobs. IT eliminates wastefulness. So for every business owner, you want to optimize your resources. And optimizing your resources simply means getting the most out of an investment that is done. So IT doesn't replace jobs. It helps you optimize your investment. Then secondly, IT is an investment on its own. Remember I said that earlier on, that IT is an investment on its own. As a business owner, you need to see IT as an investment. For example, in my business, we had to invest in an ERP tool. We're a growing business. We had to invest in an ERP tool that has an accounting software that prepares quotes and send out to the sales team and send out to customers. We had to do all those things. And also as a young growing business, we are saying, okay, what other areas can we optimize using IT also? And we are thinking about it. It's an investment for us. Now, back to your question. A business owner wants to expand his businesses. You want to expand your business. And one of the things that has made the companies international is technology. I'm sure the banks that are across Africa right now, they wouldn't have done so if not for the help of technology. Because how do you monitor what your businesses are doing across several countries? Secondly, for real estate owners, I'm sure you want to expand your real estate business. Just like we have Marriott, you have Transcorp, you have this 5-star hotels. How do they expand across different countries? And to monitor their activities. It's true. These are real estate companies. You might want to call them hospitality business, but they are real estate business. At the core of it, they are a real estate company.
True.
Because how they do their valuation is that they say that our company is in so and so this thing, and this is the value of the company there. So they are primarily also, from my own perspective though, it's a real estate company. So I'm sure many of the real estate owners, you want your business to be global. And the best way to do it is realize that technology is your friend. You can't be everywhere. But with a click, you know what's happening across your different businesses, across different African continents. And if you choose to expand to different part of the world, with a click of a button, you can see what is happening. You can see when a resource is about to be exhausted. And you can call the manager and say that, why haven't you made a requisition for XYZ resource that is about to be depleted? But most people right now is the manual method that, hey, Nkechi, what's happening? That you're calling me when this thing is just finished. You know, come on, we can do better as business owners.
Okay, so I like that. In all of this, what I hear is that this is just going to take out automated repetitive tasks.
Exactly.
You know, that obviously, I feel like it's really not going to take people out of jobs. It's just going to take people that are not willing to evolve with the times out of jobs.
Exactly.
Let's talk a little about ransomware. So this obviously made me read.
Yeah.
Right? And I like it.
Yeah.
Now, I actually never knew that when your cybersecurity is breached, you literally have to pay money the way you would pay if one was physically kidnapped. And you'd have to pay in cryptocurrency. Mm-hmm. Now, for businesses, like I said, government parastatals, like we've highlighted, real estate banks, how can they protect themselves from these cyber criminals that could be perpetrating this? And if they already have succumbed to this, what can they in the future do to prevent this from happening?
Okay. I had a brother that was in the security agency, and he said something to me then. He said that security doesn't eliminate crime. It just limits it. I think this is coming from NIBS, right? He says that Nigeria lost a significant amount to cyber fraud in 2024. According to NIBS, we lost over 1.1 trillion naira to fraud last year. Nigeria, and these are the ones that are recorded. And I will tell you this, that whatever you see on the report is like an iceberg, right? Most of it. Yeah, because for example, you lose 2,000 naira in your account, you will report that. Mm-hmm. You know? Mm-hmm. So imagine as a nation, we lost 1.1 trillion naira to fraud. Now let's come back to businesses. So let me paint this scenario.
As a nation,
you report, and this is the financial sector. Other sectors were not reported. This is only the financial sector. So let me come back to this. Let me tell you the impact of fraud. Because most people hear this financial fraud, and this fraud is not the kind of fraud that, there are different types of fraud, but this is financial fraud. Okay. Right? That is this cybersecurity fraud, rather. Mm-hmm. So imagine this. You've worked for 20 years plus. Mm-hmm. You've built a business that is thriving, because you built a business that is working. You have an investment worth $20 billion and you're about to retire. And all of a sudden, all this is wiped out due to a cyber fraud. A cyber fraud, and there's nothing you can do about it. And when you did your investigation, you realized that it was an 18-year-old boy that you can't even touch, that is seated in Russia. I would say this, that most of the fintech that closed down in Nigeria, they lost so much money. They lost because this is the sector we are in. We know how much most of these banks are actually losing every month, but some of them are reported, some of them are not, right? And I can't say the amount. I can't even say, but we have a report. So back to why should a business invest in cybersecurity? Do you value your efforts?
I think you've answered the question already. I'm also like, if you have all this money, why not just make it safe?
See, for example, right? So one of the things we realize that small businesses do, that, people like free things. Like, people like free things. So if you ask a lot of young businesses, the email platform you use, just something as little as that, is it paid for?
Paid for.
Or you're using some of all these free services here and there. In Africa, in Nigeria, they said that, they say free things, they poach belle.
I wolf, they run
belle. So just in case this, okay, we know that people outside the country will probably hear about it. What do you mean by that? It means that free things would get you into trouble.
That's a good translation.
Who gets you into trouble.
That's a good translation.
So you see a lot of young businesses. For example, I know of a big real estate business. Then I won't mention their name. When I asked them what email services are you using, they said they were using Yahoo. And I was say, was it the paid service? They said, no, it's not the paid service. I said, okay. Then I sent an email to them. I saw different correspondents from the same company. Some were using Gmail. Some were using different mails. I was like, at this company, they were making good money, like serious good money. Like if you should mention 5 real estate companies in Nigeria, I'm sure like they're like number 1 to 3. But they didn't have a secure mail. And in talking about ransomware and the rest, I could easily inject a ransomware attack to that company and I would seize all their assets. In fact, there's a story that happened recently, sometime last year. So not in Nigeria, outside the country. I've forgotten which country that was. The CFO, which is the Chief Information Officer, he got a call from the MD, and the MD said, that I will need you to transfer XYZ amount of money to so and so account. We just closed the transaction with them, and we told them we're going to make payment now. The CFO said that the CFO told the MD that we'll do that, but we need XYZ number of people to confirm such payment. He said, don't worry, I have them on the call. So he dialed them in. This was a Zoom call, and everyone came, and he told them, you know what, everyone put on your video on. Everyone put on their video. You had the different DGs, the DMD, all of them said, please go ahead and make the payments. Would
countersign
later, but please make the payment. It's really urgent. So the CFO authorized the payment and sent the payment out. Few hours later, the MD called him and said that I just saw an amount left the account. That who authorized it? The CFO said, we just finished a Zoom call like the hour ago and you authorized it. The DMD authorized it. Everyone authorized it. That what are you saying, sir? That you authorized it. Now, what happened at that point was the criminals, cybersecurity criminals, they used AI.
Oh my God.
And they generated all these images, including the MD's image, and they put it out there. Now, we'll come back to that story, but let's go back to the story we mentioned about ransomware. As a business, these are some things that you should put in place. You should put policies in place around your cybersecurity framework, right? Like we help companies come up with a cybersecurity framework to ensure that they don't get defrauded easily. Before you get defrauded, something has to be done. Now we come across that, and like I was saying, right? So this real estate company don't have a secured email. We went to their website. We realized that from their website, we can put an SQL injection. And what do I mean by that? We can decide to redirect traffic that is coming to their site to our site, and we'll tell them make payment on this site. So people will think that when they click on their website, they're actually clicking on quote and unquote this big real estate company, but we are redirecting them to our website that is just like theirs, and we would have an agent. We say fill in your number. Anyone that fills in number, we'll call them. We say, you know what, we are giving a discount now, and if you pay now, you will get this thing done. So there are different ways at which companies can protect themselves from ruining their reputation. But the question is this, that some people know about it. My concern is that I feel a lot of people understand about the benefit of information technology. My concern is that people still look at it as a cost factor. No, it's not. Technology is an investment for and I'm saying it here to all the business owners. Technology is an investment for your business to help you scale and to help you protect your business from losing all you've worked for. A lot of people have lost all their life savings to fraud, to cyber fraud.
You know how Mr. Ezekiel would say that you should have marketing as a staff, digital marketing, physical marketing, whatever form of marketing as a staff that you pay monthly. I don't mean like a physical staff, obviously. Like the way you have 500,000 naira for XYZ salary for the month, you should have a stipulated amount of money for cybersecurity and information technology. We're trying to tell these companies right now, right?
Exactly. So companies should. Now, so somebody told me, Osita, place a bet on yourself. So I'll tell business owners that place a bet on yourself. If you know your business is going to go international, your business is going to do over $5 million, $10 million, $50 million in the next couple of years, if it's not doing it now already, you should either have a staff internally that would help you do your IT, that's information technology roadmap, which includes cybersecurity, or you outsource it. You outsource to a company that would guide you, provide you with guidelines on how to structure your business in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years around technology, inclusive of information technology. It's really important.
So if, I know we're talking about businesses that are trying to do 5 billion or in revenue, but how about startup businesses? How would a startup business right now in Nigeria incorporate cybersecurity to the business?
So already, right, if you are a startup business, like when we started, right, obviously we couldn't, we didn't have the investment to own our servers. We had to subscribe to a cloud service. I remember I said the cloud service is an investment on technology that somebody has already done, and you pay for a service monthly for it. Some people, sometimes you do it annually. So for a startup business, you need to ask yourself a question. What part of my business would need technology? I know, for example, one of the first things that you need for a startup business, you need to have a website, you need to have an email. And I'll beg you, please, if you take your business serious, don't do free websites. Pay for a web hosting service. Pay for it. It's secured, right? A web hosting service that has an SSL certificate on it. They are secured. If it doesn't have, pay for an SSL certificate, please, right? Okay, for example, there's something that happened in one of the big banks that people claimed that their website was hacked.
Very recently.
But their website was not hacked.
So what happened then?
What happened to them was that their web hosting platform, somebody forgot to pay for it on time, and somebody took it over. So again, pay for these things. And they paid for it, so they were not hacked. So let's divulge that information. They were not hacked in any way. It was just that somebody needed to do their job properly.
So if they were actually automating this as you're recommending that
they automated it.
Okay. So
they automated it.
A staff just forgot.
Exactly. But imagine if they hadn't automated it. Imagine if they didn't invest in technology. It would have cost them more. So I would say for a young business, pay for that. Pay for it. Have a web hosting service that you pay for. Is important. Secondly, pay for an email. We have local email services that you can pay for that is secured, right? We have international email services that you can pay for. Pay for it for your staff. I see a lot of businesses invest in cars, invest in building, but they don't invest in just something as little as an email. And an email is also part of your corporate branding. Because when you send an email with some certain email address, people take your company serious.
Seriously.
So invest in it if you're growing. At least this would give you a level of protection. Right?
Right. So we have spoken so much about businesses. Let's talk about how this would apply directly to the government. You did say earlier on that when it comes to data collection for various certifications, like say you want to get your driver's license, your BVN and all of that, and you have to do so much computing over the course of all of this registration. Now, if we were to synchronize this, what would the process look like ideally?
It's going to cost less. It's going to cost less. It's going to make things quicker. And it's going to make the government more money.
How so? Because I strongly believe that the reason why this is probably not implemented is less about the fact that it is not a known knowledge, but more about the fact that maybe they're trying to cut costs. But if you're saying that this would ideally, in the long run, help us save more money, how would that happen?
First of all, for the staffs in the different parastatals, they still retain their jobs. So no job is going to be lost.
But then that would cancel out the need for filing and documentation.
It won't.
Okay.
First of all, no jobs are going to be lost. Let's have that. So if anyone in government is listening right now, no job in the civil service is going to be lost.
Okay.
First of all, what that would help them do to help them get home early.
Oh, well.
So these are the benefits. So you would resume at the office, let's say 8 or 9. People walk into your office and they give you their numbers. You impute it. You don't have to print a physical file. You send the file to another department. They check on it that, this person has a driver's license. The process, and based on the data governance and structure of your data, is easily for you to take it from one department to another, even if you're using it from a different government parastatal. So they would actually get home early. The government would not have to spend so much again on certain things, but rather they will start chunking out the job quicker. And we've seen in business that the quicker you are in chunking out services, the more money you make because you're saving less, you're saving yourself time. And when you're saving time in delivering a service, you're maximizing your costs and you're optimizing your profits.
Definitely.
So it's going to help the government optimize the profit. Then secondly, one of the things that is going to help the government do is going to help them track down criminal elements, right? So a case in study, someone gets a car, right? And the car was used for a criminal work. And let's twist it, right? The criminal work, that car was from someone that they kidnapped. But the person they kidnapped was able to capture the person's name. With that name, you can drill down into everyone that bears that name. You can look at the person, then you can now track we see all these things in CIS movie.
Yes.
Yeah, you just track, okay, is it this person? Is it this person? You can start tracking that way. So and so person, okay, who bears Ahmed Mary? You track that, who bears Ahmed Mary in Nigeria that lives in Lagos, that was around here at this particular time. Because you have this information, you can drill down.
I feel like one of our problems is the fact that we think this just happens in the movie and it's just acted out. We actually forget that this is real.
Exactly. So it's so
like,
real.
It's like film trick.
Yeah, it is.
But it's real.
And this thing, right, beyond just government, I would also go back to businesses. This thing would help any business to succeed and stand the test of time. As in, Nigeria is blessed. And like we said earlier on, data is the new oil. We have so much information here in Nigeria. So imagine this. Imagine if we have our data structured in Nigeria. It means that it's going to be easy for me to start my own music streaming businesses and I can capture my audience easily because I get people's information. With people's information, it's easy for me to push things into that. Yeah. Then I would also add this thing. Part of the thing that drives technology is government policies also. So as a business, we are trying to advocate to the government that we need certain policies that would help information technology. The government have done so well. For example, in the banking sector, there are some policies that they've created like the PCI DSS, the ISO, the BCMX. We are also now appealing to the government that why don't you put in policy an AI policy for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years? And also a DAMA framework. I'll call it an NDAMA framework. In Nigeria, data management framework. For example, companies like Dubai, Saudi Arabia, the UK, the Europe, they have these policies in place already. So I believe the Nigerian government, they are doing a great job, right? In the best of their ability. Some people think otherwise. Well, I decided to see that the cup is half filled, not half empty. Right? This is our country. So we can do so much as a country. And the government is actually doing a lot, but we can still do much more.
I feel like at the end of the day, the core of this is the need for government agencies, companies to start to think about how they can upskill their staff
Exactly.
to get to the point where they are no longer redundant and they are able to catch up to, with what technology, is at. I want us to talk a little though about data governance. You
Yes.
said that a lot of times.
Yes.
And it just flies over my head as it would fly over the listener. So talk to me a little about that.
Okay, so I would imagine our listeners are people that are just hearing this for the first time. So let's break it down to, as though we're discussing to a 7 years old.
Because that's why it's LIMBsimple. We'll make it simple.
Your question, first of all, is a very intelligent question. Like I said, I really love the kind of questions you asked. So thank you. So let me explain data governance as I'm explaining to a 7 years old. So to a 7 years old, imagine you had toys everywhere, toys scattered, right? Your toys are scattered here, they're scattered there, and these toys would categorize them as data. Now, what data governance would do for an organization, we say, you know what? The toys for Lego, let's keep them here. Toys for your cars, let's keep them here. Your robotic toys, let's keep them here. So what data governance would help a 7 years old do is that it would arrange the toy in an orderly format.
Okay.
Then also in data governance, you have about 13 steps that you need in data governance, but that's just the summary. Let's not go deep into that. Then, so that when you want to make use of a particular toy, you know where to get it from. So that's the objective of data governance, to help you arrange data in a structural format that would enhance you to access your data when you need it as soon as possible.
Beautiful. So how would this practically apply?
To a business, I guess.
Yes, to a business.
So let's give the real estate company, or better still,
Let's use power.
exactly. Let's use power for an example.
Okay.
So power can be categorized into electricity or those doing crude oil, mining or whatever you do. Now, for these companies, there's what they call IoT, Internet of Things.
Okay.
So you want to put these IoT devices across your equipment. And also you want to have your customers' information also. So now what would the IoT data give you? The IoT data will tell you at what point your machines are overworked and when they're underworked. So what would that do for you? Now, with a good data governance, you can pull out information and say that this machine is overworked majorly weekdays, right? And weekends is practically not doing anything. So let me do something. Let me reduce the burden weekdays and use it to use over the weekends, because most of these machines, you don't want to put them off. It has to keep rolling. So that's what we do for you. Then also you notice that with good data that is structured, you say, okay, I have customers that buy majorly during Christmas. So with if you have your data governance in place, you say, okay, why don't I give my customers a discount in January so that at least I can have people that would buy from me in January so I can still keep my plants running. So a good data governance, a good data management structure would help you predict your company's information, help you predict things more effectively. But beyond just business, what a good data governance would help you do would to help you protect your company's information. Would to help you know, okay, what to protect. There's what they call it. They call it data resilience. And part of data resilience, what does data resilience mean?
Yes, it's
ensuring that I can get my data, I can get information that I need, even in a downtime.
Okay.
So one of the things that some businesses will do is that they always have a backup of their data. So a backup of your data is, for example, I'm sure you store your information on the cloud. That when you upgrade your iPhone, it just goes. So that's what companies, they need to do. You need to keep a copy of your information somewhere else. But now it's not keeping a copy of the information somewhere. It's keeping it in a format that when you bring it back, is usable.
Okay.
Some companies, they back up their information that when they want to bring it back, is useless. They don't understand what the information is there. But a good data management format and policy, these are some of the benefits you get from it, right? So for those in the power sector, they would really want to look at the data management policy format. What can I do to optimize my environment in this sector too? So I'm sure you can see now that IT cut across different industries.
Every industry.
All industries.
Let's talk. I'm particular about real estate.
Yes.
Apparently. So talk to me about how AI integration would work with real estate or maybe any other sector.
See, I would say this, that AI is a blessing. It's going to make people more creative. AI would make people that have no experience become more experienced because it has cut the gap. Like, it has really cut the gap. Let's use real estate for example, right? So there's what they call AI agents now. And for AI agents, you program an AI for a particular service within your, I'm repeating myself, a particular service within your AI can be used for different things, but you always have to have a use case for AI. So let's give it the service of an AI agent for a real estate company as their customer rep. So you create all the, in fact, the AI is so intelligent because it connects to several information past 100 years currently on how things are done. So you create an AI agent to become a customer rep, that a customer that would answer all the questions that you have. So a customer calls the AI, calls your organization or chats your organization that please confirm the process of getting my CFO in Nigeria. The AI agent, because you fed it, you've programmed it to answer certain questions, would give the customer the information on time. So what is that doing for the real estate company?
Swift
It's
transaction.
making, exactly. And because they are quick in responding, it gains customers' trust. The customer is like, these people know what they are doing. So let me give you a sneak peek into my life right now.
Do tell.
So emails, I want to write an email to a certain person. So what I do with all these chatbots you have right now is that I say, hi chatbot, I'm the MD of Collaborative Technology. I'm writing an email to the MD of so and so bank, and I want the MD to, this is the outcome I want. I want to book a meeting with the MD on so and so date. Ask me all the relevant questions that would make this MD say yes to my meeting. And when I answer the question, provide me with power words and persuasive words that would ensure that the MD reads my email or my letter and is
Propelled.
So what does that help me do? Then it now comes, we start interacting. I said, no, I don't want this word.
Yeah.
So what does that help me to do? It has helped me cut a lot of processes in place that before now I'll start searching for. No. So AI has helped a lot of people. It's helping me, my staffs. It's helping my staffs. I know a lot of people that it's helping them right now. So a cheat also that. So as a CEO also, you want to create a HR function for your real estate company, or you want to create a construction, or even let's say your architect gives you a structural drawing. You can upload it in an AI stuff and say, you know what? Tell me the flaws in this architectural drawing. Tell me all that will be needed in this architectural drawing. And the AI will pop out several. You'll be amazed what it does for you.
I feel like this would over time lead to so many job opportunities, particularly I think off air we were talking about prompt engineering.
Exactly. Because
what you just talked about is a skill. And right now it's an in-demand skill, because if you're going to cut corners, allow me say that, if you're going to cut corners, you want to cut it right and get the best use out of the system, isn't it?
Exactly. In fact, AI is amazing that, as in, let's leave it. So personally, I'm beginning to study. So I'm in IT.
Yeah, sure.
AI is an emerging technology. I'm beginning to study AI right now. How can I use it for my business? And one of the cheats we use in our business that we asked AI, tell us the next trend in IT.
I was just going to, oh my God, you're so serious. I was just going to ask you, right? What's the next trend in IT for AI, for automation, for cybersecurity? In the next, let's do the sizable sample. In the next 5 years.
In the next 5 years, men are going to go to Mars.
You're so particular about going to that.
Men are going to go to Mars.
I
In the next
agree.
5 years, you'd have automated driving.
True.
Right?
We already have that right now.
Have you noticed cyber trucks in Nigeria now?
Yes, I have.
So if people are saying AI and this thing is going to be far,
Yes,
no, it's not.
It's happening already.
Yeah, and I want to own a cyber truck too.
I do
Or a
too.
self-driving cyber truck. Like, I need a driver in my life. I don't want to stress myself. So this is what we're talking about, the evolution of AI. AI is going to help people live a more fulfilled life. However, just like those that didn't scale up their skill when computers started, it's going to eliminate those that refuse to be resourceful. So in this day and age, you need to be resourceful, but still answering the question, in the next 5 years, how do I see technology emerging? Like we said, self-driving cars. For businesses, you're going to have AI agents. What I mean AI agents, you're going to have people that would stay behind and prompt their AI on responses to give its customers. You're going to have AI, like you already have it in companies outside the country. AI are the ones building cars in Amazon. AIs are the ones, the robotic, they're robots.
They're waitresses now.
Yeah, so it's going to be doing a lot. And I'll tell people this, that let's be open-minded towards this. For example, listen to this. 5 years ago, there was nothing like a content creator. There was no job called content creator. There was no job anywhere.
Job right now.
Exactly. I need a content creator. So imagine. But now, 5 years ago, 5 years ago exactly, people like MC Macaroni, people like my good friend MC Bakara, people like so many of these people that are making so much money now, they are making money because of the trend in technology. So I'll tell people this, that be excited about this time. As a business owner, be excited. Your business is going to scale beyond your imagination. With little resources, you will do a lot. A lot of people, 5 years ago, you couldn't sell online. 5 years ago, if you want to start a business, you're thinking about renting a store, getting goods. But now people are starting their businesses without any investment. They just have their phones, talk to people, and they are selling. In fact, recently I saw a movie, I forgot the name of the movie, that was all AI generated. All AI generated. So the opportunities that in the next 5 years, I can't even tell if I say I know this opportunity in the next 5 years, I'll be lying to you. But I'm excited about it. I'm open to it. And I believe that businesses, the government, they should be excited about this thing. Talking about it, even in the medical field, have you seen what AI is doing right now? It's diagnosing illnesses that people couldn't do before.
Yeah.
So the opportunities are limitless. So I want to encourage business owners, beyond just having a financial projection, have an IT projection for your business for the next 5 years, for the next 15 years. How are you going to use IT? Because, quote and unquote, we're going to be in multi-universe very soon. So don't just say, I want to expand to America. So I want to expand my business to Mars. I want to expand my business to Mars. So I strongly believe in that vision that in the next 5 years, man is going to be human being. We are going to have humanity in Mars. I believe so much in that also, because I believe something that what the mind can conceive, the mind can actually achieve. Right? So 5 years from now is going to be interesting time for many businesses, and for African businesses, like,
what would that translate to for them?
Yeah, for African businesses, one of the things that we do as an organization is that our goal and our mission rather for African business, that we are going to make African businesses global with technology. So while people are focused on sales, people are focused on HR, our focus for African businesses is that, come talk to us. Let's discuss in the next 5 years. What are your plans? What are your financial plans? What are your HR plans? That would help you map out your IT plans, your data plan, to ensure that your business gets to that point. Because African businesses, it's time for us to start going global. We have the opportunities to go global.
I mean, if like businesses or like CEOs listening to you would want to find you and have more conversations with you, or probably even get into your, your listing, how would they find you?
Lovely question. So you can reach out to me on LinkedIn.
Okay.
The name of the organization is called Collaborative Technology. So on LinkedIn, you can actually reach out to us on LinkedIn. You see my name, Osita Okoli, Collaborative Technology. Then also, you can also reach out to me via my email, which is osita@koti.com.ng, and I'll spell that out. osita@koti.com.ng. So you can reach out to me this way. IT is an investment. I'm excited I came into this field. It's an investment. You're thinking of expanding your business. Technology is here to help you expand your business. You're thinking of optimizing your resources. Technology would give you the information in your business that would help you to make not information based on gut feelings, but information that is based on data that you have. IT is here to help you to expand your business globally. I'm excited. Amazing times. I'll tell you, amazing times.
Thank you so much for this conversation.
Thank you.
Not only am I sure that this must have impacted greatly to the listeners, but even I myself have had my horizon broadened. Now, the summary of all of this conversation today is the importance for you, your organization, to utilize the available resources that are, to be fair, inexpensive in the grand scheme of things, to make your business what it should be. Because if you're not right now willing to build a business that is sellable, a business that is going to scale globally, then maybe you should not just even start the business at all. That's what we believe on this podcast. And that's why we bring you industry experts that would give you the foreknowledge that you have to make the most intentional decision for your business growth. Like I said earlier on, or like he said earlier on, if you're looking to consult with him or hire his services or that of his company, we're going to drop links right in the description so that you could reach out to him directly. Would like for you to share this video, come back and watch as many times as possible for all the value pack that we have on this. Until I come your way next time, stay innovative, stay intentional, and stay growing with tech, obviously. Till I see you again, have a beautiful day.
Dear entrepreneurs and CEOs, did you know that 90% of businesses fail within the first 5 years of conception and only a very little fraction make it to 7 figures? Are you currently struggling with scaling your business, customer attraction, customer retention? Then you are definitely not alone. What if I told you that there are proven systems that could turn your business into a revenue generating machine? With over 4,000 businesses transformed and 53 of which are already doing $1 billion in revenue annually, we do not just teach you how to do business, we teach you how to actually win in business. At the Strategy Factory, you get the exact roadmap to scale your business, build a sellable business, attract high-value customers, make strategic decisions with confidence, make the most of your business, and also unlock powerful networking opportunities. Do not let your business become yet another failure statistics. Success is a strategy. The question right now is, do you have the right one? If you're interested to have further conversation on the Strategy Factory with us, comment strategy in the comment section and we'll follow up with you immediately. We look forward to seeing you in the next Strategy Factory happening this month.